sleeping to Hollywood, Hollywood. We ain't sleeping.
Spoiler alert, we will be discussing TV shows in great detail. We may give away some main points. We may give away some favorite moments. This is your warning. Spoiler alert.
And with that, hey everybody, it's your girl Gaelyn Smith.
And Caleb McDonald.
And this is No Sleep Till Hollywood. We're not sleeping until we make it in Hollywood. And while we're up, we will be discussing the state of the industry and our place in it.
And today we are discussing the nominations for the Academy's next award show, the Emmys, the Primetime Emmy Awards. How did you feel when you saw that nomination list drop?
I'm not gonna lie, when you said the Academy, I was like, the Academy is the Oscars. And then you said the Academy's next awards, the Emmys. And I was like, oh, you meant the Television Academy. You gotta be specific, you know. So I wasn't sure. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie to y'all. It's a wonderful year to be Black. As always, it's a great year to be Black. But you know, I feel like the Emmys this year, I was pretty happy with the nominations. There were some snubs. There were some things I wish we could see. And of course, you know, we'll get into, you know, I think the Television Academy, it's very clear that they watch like 5 channels and only 5 channels. But so I was pretty excited with what I saw. There were some really great high points. But Caleb, how did you feel about the nominations?
I looked at half of them like, oh, that makes sense. Like, you know, it's like, all right, they were doing well already. It makes sense that they would only continue to flourish. But then the other half was a mixture of why did they do that? And yo, I'm glad they did that. Most notably, the one that I will pique interest with is Squid Game. I did not expect Squid Game to make it, nor did I expect Squid Game to receive as many nominations as they did. But hey, they did the darn thing. They played the game, and they played it well.
I'm very excited about Squid Game. Squid Game is the first non-English show to be nominated for Outstanding Drama Series. So I'm very excited to see that. I'm glad that we're getting some diversity because a show doesn't have to be American or English speaking to be an outstanding show. And I love that something that most of us had to watch, you know, with subtitles. Or did you watch that with subtitles or did you watch it dubbed? Because like I just feel like
You know, just a quick reminder, you can find me on socials anywhere at Caleb Subtitles. Why? Because I am a huge proponent of subtitles. So I absolutely watched it with subtitles. I definitely heard the original in their throats as they spoke and as
yeah,
they
the
tried
dub.
to survive.
I tried the dub for 5 minutes and I said, absolutely the hell not. I will just read these subtitles. Okay.
Right.
But no, so I was very excited to see that. I think the big one for me that I was very excited to see was Miss Cheryl Lee Ralph finally getting an Emmy nomination. One of the baddest in the game, a true OG. All the, you know, the 90s babies know. It's always been her. So I follow her son on like Instagram and he posted the video like the day she found out and like she was at home in Jamaica. Baby, I cried. I watched every version of the video that he posted. I watched it and I wept. So I was very, very excited to see that. Love me some Cheryl. Love me some Cheryl. But you know, the Emmys this year, it's been interesting. I think a lot of the conversation that I've been seeing as I kind of have been reading and listening is that a lot of the categories are stacked, but they're stacked with like 5 people from one show. And
Right.
if we look at the numbers, the most nominated shows for this year, Succession having the most nominations at 25. Then you have Ted Lasso and White Lotus tied at 20, which is interesting because White Lotus is a limited series. You have Hacks, Only Murders in the Building at 17. Euphoria has 16. Squid Game and Severance have 14. And The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel have 12, making them the most nominated shows. Caleb, how do you feel about that?
Honestly, I'm gonna go through the list. I'm gonna go through the list because Succession, that is a drama. Succession is
Another joint.
Shakespearean in nature, but
Mm-hmm.
modern in ruthlessness. Oh my gosh. Like, it's the first show where I'm watching people's throats get slit
Yeah.
without a single drop of blood. Like, the word game is incredible. The writing there, Succession
I was
deserved
like,
it.
how do you
Ted,
split with no blood?
oh
That
yeah,
doesn't make
no,
sense.
no, because it's like, as opposed to like a literal backstab, like no, the backstabbing in that show goes crazy. Ted Lasso, there will I I'm not gonna say there will never be another show like Ted Lasso because I want more shows like Ted Lasso. That
Love.
show can have you laughing and crying every single 30-minute period they got you.
I love that
So Ted
show. Oh, I
Lasso,
haven't worn my Ted Lasso shirt today. Dang. Love
ah,
that show.
yeah, I
I have a
missed
Ted
it.
Lasso shirt.
It's all right. You could wear it the day of the Emmys.
Or we could do an episode about Ted Lasso because we haven't done one yet.
Oh yeah, and I would be absolutely happy because again, we need more shows like Ted Lasso. Ted
Yeah.
Lasso is saving media. Then there's White Lotus. Then there's Hacks. I
So we
haven't
were having a
watched Hacks
conversation
yet.
about White Lotus beforehand, and you were spicy with the takes,
Be-
Caleb.
because all I'm gonna say is,
Not all you're gonna say. Nah, what did you
listen,
have to say?
it was a surprise, okay? It was a surprise that White Lotus got nominated. Period. Then it was a surprise that they got double digits worth of nominations. And now you're telling me that this show that was kind of all over the place with a very flimsy plot and more
Ooh.
got 20 top 3
Yeah.
I'm HBO. That's all I'm gonna say.
Listen, HBO stands for helping blacks out. So, we can't talk too crazy on HBO's name. We can't talk too crazy on their name.
Oh no, I'm gonna say right here, HBO knew what they were doing, but the White Lotus team did what they thought they were doing. Hacks, I haven't watched Hacks, but I
Yeah.
do want to watch it. I've only heard
What is
positive things.
Hacks even about, child? Like loosely.
From what I understand,
Mm-hmm.
it's about this assistant
Mm-hmm.
who like is mentored by this famous comedian, and like that relationship is just a new take on the whole dark mentorship.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So basically some evil mentor.
Got you.
Devil Wears Prada, but comedian.
Okay.
Only Murders in the Building. It didn't keep my attention, but I could understand why it is here with so many noms.
I cannot wait to start that show. It just seems fun to me. So I will probably, we'll see. Maybe I'll watch it today or tomorrow. But I will be starting that soon. So I will have more thoughts when we come back to it. But
And
Euphoria.
Euphoria.
I
I
know we
mean,
love Euphoria on this show, honey. That's our
we
jam.
are very euphoric to see
It's one of
Euphoria.
the few shows that we can wholeheartedly agree on. Like we
Right.
both like and like a lot. We'll get into the actor nominations and things like that. But I'm here to say, if they hadn't given Miss Sydney Sweeney that nomination, I was about to fight.
If
Okay,
they hadn't given Miss Coleman, Miss Zendaya Coleman,
Mr. Coleman,
what's
Coleman,
Zendaya's last name?
Coleman Domingo.
No,
Wait,
what's Zendaya's last name?
oh, you said Coleman, and I thought you meant Coleman Domingo. Her
Oh,
mentor, the guy who plays her mentor, who's also
okay.
nominated. I forgot that Zendaya
But
has a last name, Chad.
okay, but now we just have to hold on, people. We are confirming
No,
a last
Zendaya
name
Coleman
real
is
quick.
right, but his first name is
Oh,
also
okay,
Coleman. That's what I'm saying. The last name, Zendaya
okay.
don't have a last name professionally, so once you said it, that made me instantly go Coleman Domingo. That's like when
Right,
Beyonce
okay.
first came out. Like, you didn't say Beyonce Knowles.
I mean,
It was Beyonce.
Beyonce. Which,
Christopher
if you
name.
haven't, go listen to Renaissance. Act 1
Christopher
is
name.
out
Mother
right
of
now.
her house. Okay. Y'all know I love
But
Beyonce.
no, Euphoria, Zendaya, if she didn't receive that Emmy nom, it would have been an injustice. Cause yo, there's no reason why I could have hated her and loved her in the span of 5 minutes
I
like
will
that.
say, I think that the second season Zendaya nomination to me feels more earned than the first one. I think the
Agreed.
first one was just like, I think she did great work, but I don't think like of the two performances, this was where I was like, oh, she came for her Emmy and really was acting down and really deserves it. I think the first season was fine, but I don't know that I felt like the Emmy was earned in the first season. I will say that.
I can agree with that, and because of the fact that the first season and second season coexist, does add to why that second season
Yeah.
definitely hit harder. Um, After Euphoria, we do have Squid Game, like we talked about, and that show, the premise itself was very much a joy for me because I love a twisted turn on something that should be lovely and familiar. Oh my gosh. Yes. I was upset I didn't think of the show myself, if I'm being honest.
Caleb, I'm just, okay. All right.
Mm-hmm.
I thought
Mm-hmm.
Squid Game was fine.
Severance,
I enjoyed Squid Game a lot, but it was a lot. It was a lot, child.
it was a lot. It was a lot. I loved every single decision that they made.
Yeah, it was a good show. I enjoyed it.
Severance. Now, Severance was peak TV for me. And the reason why I'm calling it peak TV for me
Mm.
is because as a philosophy minor, as a philosopher myself, that show did everything it needed to in a look at like the capitalistic world that we live in now. Like they took their time and detail with every inch of the writing of those scripts. And for that reason, absolutely love Severance.
I'm sorry to
Eh,
that man. I do not know a thing. I mean, I'm gonna start it. Like I was telling Caleb, I'm gonna try and watch as many of these Emmy shows as possible. But I'm gonna tell you now, Severance don't seem like one of them shows I'm gonna go
Look,
look for.
all I'm gonna say this. Yes, start Severance. Like, let Severance be the next one that you start. And
Mm,
just know, I think personally that all 14 of those Emmys could have gone, if for nothing else, that last episode. That last episode could have gotten an Emmy in every single category because that last episode was peak television. That was one of my favorite television episodes of all time. And when you watch it and you come back to this pod, you will let the people know how good that last episode was because you will make it to the last episode. It was that inviting.
we'll see. We shall see. I just don't see
Eh,
it being my cup of tea.
I really hope it simmers.
You know how I am. Then we have the marvelous Mrs.
And
Maisel. I have not watched this show since like the middle of season one. I think like I stopped watching and then I
mhm,
went back. But I love that show. I do want to go back and finish it. I just have not. But it's such a joy. It's just a fun show. It's joyful.
no, if our talk on that one episode didn't get me back into stand up, it was watching season 4 of Mrs. Maisel that had me ready to do stand up again. I went after I watched, no, middle of the season, I went to my sister. I was like, Laura, I want to do stand up. She said, you're doing that already. And I was like,
Sounds like
okay, but you don't understand. It's different now. Like
correct.
I have a reinvigorated, uh, I don't know what the word is, but yes, I feel new. I feel like a new comedian
Rejuvenated,
watching that show.
refreshed,
Yes,
rejuvenated.
rejuvenated. You know the words. You're a wordsmith.
So like I said, it was a beautiful year to be black for the Emmys. And we've talked about some of these things, but I just want to run down some of the black excellence of the year. We have Zendaya and Coleman
Please.
Domingo nominated as actors for Euphoria. Zendaya is also a producer on Euphoria, which I just want to also like shout that out because that's fire. Abbott Elementary has 7 nominations. Not everybody who was nominated from Abbott Elementary was black, but
Woo-hoo.
the fact that a black woman created a show that has 7 nominations in itself is fire. We have Miss Quinta Brunson. She is the first black woman to snag 3 comedy nominations for lead actress, for writing, and outstanding comedy series. We then have Cheryl Lee Ralph and
And
Janelle James, supporting actress. Oh, go ahead, Caleb.
oh, I was just gonna say, I don't think we could walk over the fact that she's also the youngest black woman as a lead
Yes.
nominated. So
Yes.
congrats to Miss Brunson.
Not
We
the
love
youngest
you.
black woman, she's the
We
youngest woman,
appreciate
period.
you. Youngest woman. Oh, I love it. I
Youngest
love it. I
woman,
love it.
not black woman. Youngest woman, period. But we have Cheryl Lee Ralph and Janelle James for supporting actress. We have Tyler James Williams for supporting actor. We got Lizzo's Watch Out for the Big Girls with 6 nominations. I will admit I have not watched it yet, but
I will say my sister's been watching it, and whenever she's in
Jen.
the room, I'm catching glimpses, and that could have me to tears. I know it. If I actually watch that show myself, it could have me to tears. The story and the dedication that you see in all the girls. Watch out for the big girls. That's all I'm gonna say.
Watch out for the big girls. We got a Black Lady sketch show. We'll get into my thoughts about that show. Trevor Noah for late nights. We have Issa Rae for Insecure. RuPaul, I know he don't really claim us all the time, but like he's nominated for his show.
Right.
Natasha Rothwell for her performance in White Lotus. If y'all didn't realize, the Oscars was produced by a Black producing team this year, led by Will Packer, and they're nominated for an Emmy. We have Nicole
And he
Byer for
promised
her
the
hosting
drama.
on Nailed It. He did. He gave us some drama now. Nicole Byer for Nailed It. There are a couple hosting Queer Eye who are Black, and then one of the hosts of Shark Tank is also Black. Both of those shows are nominated as well. So like I said, it's a beautiful year to be Black. And be Black on television. So I'm very excited for all of these nominations. As always, y'all know me. I'm rooting for everybody Black. With the asterisks, but I'm rooting for everybody Black. So I'm very, very excited about the
With the
Um,
asterisks.
with the asterisks. But Caleb, should we get into some specific categories now?
Yes. Heads or tails?
Heads or tails?
Yes, heads or tails.
I don't know. Tails.
So shall I be reading the comedy series first?
All right, go ahead. Read the noms first for comedy series then.
Okay, so the nominations for comedy series are
Dun, dun,
Abbott
dun.
Elementary on ABC,
Mm-hmm.
Barry on HBO,
Mm.
Curb Your Enthusiasm on HBO,
Mm.
Hacks on HBO,
Mm.
The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, Amazon Prime,
Mm.
Only Murders in the Building
Mm.
on Hulu, Ted Lasso,
Ah.
Apple TV, and What We Do in the Shadows on FX.
All right. All right. So Caleb, tell me. Let's do it this way. Tell the folks your favorite, and tell the folks your prediction, in case those are different things.
They are. They definitely are because oh my gosh. Wait, actually no, in this case,
Mm-hmm.
because all right, I have a special place in my heart for Abbott Elementary.
Exactly.
Like that I could say right now.
Mm-hmm.
But
It's some foolishness, ain't you?
yeah, it is about to be some foolishness. My favorite and my prediction is Ted Lasso because the way that show just
This is anti-Black.
it is. It is. I
Anti-Black.
don't say that with a smile on my face. My face is just formed like that.
Anti-Blackness.
But Ted Lasso, it really speaks to the whole of like a human experience, and like it's just like good could win at the end of the day. And I don't know why, but any act of kindness in that show, and I start weeping. Like I'll text my friends like a drunk college student on a Tuesday night, like y'all, I love you so much, and like you could do better. You could be
You
the
don't
best
text
you
me like
possible.
that. You don't text me like that. We not friends.
Because I'll be telling you that in my solid thoughts, not in my weak moments.
Mm, mm, mm. Y'all
What about
already
you?
know I'm riding for my gang out of Philadelphia. Okay. I love Ted Lasso. Y'all know I love Ted Lasso. I literally have a Ted Lasso shirt. We just talked about this. I love Ted Lasso. Me and my
Correct.
father watch Ted Lasso together. It's our jam. We also watch Abbott Elementary. I will say Abbott's my favorite. Abbott is my prediction to win. If Abbott wasn't here, then Ted Lasso would be my prediction and my favorite. But I think that Abbott Elementary for me is such a refreshing take on the 9 to 5 series, such a refreshing take on shows set in the schools, and I think that it's really doing a lot to just expand the representation of humanity of Black people on TV in ways that I think is super important. And also, like, I'm sorry, you can't win. Like, you got kids on the show. The babies are the best part of the show. Like,
Right.
everybody always says, don't act with babies and dogs. And the babies are there. So I'm telling you now, I think that Abbott has a very, very good shot of winning. I would be, of course, excited if Ted Lasso won, but I just think that Abbott is such a refreshing show, such a smart show. And I just really enjoy it. And I think that it is just so much fun. And it's a family show. I would like to see a family show win for comedy series because I feel like everyone's now trying to do so much edgy comedy that I would like to see a straight sitcom, no cussing, no sex, just family sitcom. I'd like to see that happen. But that's my thought.
Right. I would also just love to do a quick shout out to the student who acted in Student Transfer. I forget the student's name at this exact moment, but she was Courtney. Courtney, the cult leader Courtney.
Oh
That
yeah.
girl acted
So
down.
Courtney Wild.
That's my favorite episode by far
I would say
because
that little girl, and then my other face, stage manager Shawty. She did.
stage
She did what she
stage manager Shawty.
That's my girl right there. She
Yeah,
warmed my heart. She gonna grow up to be a showrunner. I love it. That's my baby.
but no, I would absolutely be thrilled if Abbott Elementary gets that Emmy.
All right.
Uh-huh.
So for drama series, we have Better Call Saul, AMC. I'm gonna practice reading it as if I'm announcing.
Okay.
Euphoria, HBO. Ozark, Netflix. Severance, Apple TV Plus. Squid Game, Netflix. Stranger Things, Netflix. Succession, HBO. And Yellow Jackets on Showtime. All right, Caleb. Tell people favorites, predictions.
I am going to be 100% honest with you and say that every show that I have watched gave me like a different ball in my chest. Like that's how excited I was for all of this. So I will say all of these drama series I do agree with. Better Call Saul, I'm not caught up on by any means. I watched the first season, and because they're like tied to Breaking Bad, I know it's great. But oh my gosh, to Euphoria, Ozark, Severance, Squid Game, Stranger Things, Succession, Yellow Jackets. That being said, it's going to be hard for me. I do want to say my favorite of all of these is between Succession and Yellow Jackets.
Okay.
I have to say it's between those two because Succession, like I said, it's this Shakespearean workplace drama between family and the way that they be going behind each other's backs, the comedy that's in that show, the language, it's all amazing. Yellow Jackets, the twists and turns in that show were amazing because all of the characters were nuts. Like it took me 2 episodes to actually figure out who was who because some people be looking alike and some people just crazy altogether. But Yellow Jackets, that's a show that like I demanded a season 2. I was not going to accept if they canceled it. They needed to renew that one. But the one I know in my heart is gonna win is Severance. Because like I said, Severance did a lot. Severance did a lot in that one season. And I am absolutely here for it. They bamboozled me, but I think they deserve it. What about you, Gaelyn?
I just want to say my shady thought. I don't really know why Stranger Things is on here. I am not a big Stranger Things fan. I have tried it. It doesn't work for me. But I just think like maybe because like it's so. I was listening to another podcast where they were like, nominating Stranger Things at this point is a choice, not a great one. But mostly it's so I don't feel like I haven't really seen Stranger Things nominations before now, so it's not like I feel like I'm used to seeing it nominated. And from a lot of people I know who watch it, like it's starting to get old, and like it's starting to stretch on past its welcome, is what a lot of people kind of have been saying. So I thought that was an interesting nomination. Again, I have not seen all of it, so I can't really speak to that, but I thought that was interesting that was kind of like the general consensus.
I'll speak on it. I will speak on it because as someone who has watched Stranger Things since season 1, it felt like a seasonal show to me. And by seasonal show, I mean when it's Christmas time, you could watch a whole bunch of Christmas movies on ABC Lifetime. They mean nothing to you, but like in that season, they do what they need to do. This last season of Stranger Things was actually kind of incredible. Like when getting past the because this season itself could have stood alone, like without the full context of the show prior. Like if they would have thrown us in the middle here and started the show, I would not have been mad at it. That being said, it also did elicit quite the emotional reaction from majority of the audience, especially from myself, that I think seeing it nominated makes me very happy because it's almost that show S Creek situation. Y'all know I don't curse, so I'm not trying to say it too close, but if you could say it for me, it's not a curse. S Creek, we talked about it in that one class TV
Oh,
show.
I can't stand this. I can't stand that shit.
I can't stand that show, but after season 2, it's actually pretty good. That being said, this is a perfect example in terms of Stranger Things that like a show can turn around, and that even if it's sort of like basketball, like when it gets to that fourth quarter,
Okay, but
some
basketball's
people
also
see the
only 2
score.
hours of my life. I'm not dedicating 8 to 10
No,
to
that's not what I'm talking
12
about. That's not what I'm talking about.
hours.
I'm talking about the writers. I'm talking about the writers. Please, I'm talking about the writers here. I just mean from the writer standpoint, it's similar to basketball when like players see the fourth quarter and they see the score and they're like, all right, we should just give up. Nah, like keep writing because clearly things can turn around for the writers. That's all I'm saying. I'm
But
not
that's my
saying
point. My point is
for the
for me is
audience.
like I tell people all the time. I give a show if I'll give a show 3 episodes if I'm really not sure. And if I really think that
Hmm.
it might have potential, I'll give you a season. Like everybody knows famously, I am not an Atlanta fan, but I tried twice. I watched the first 4 episodes when it was first coming out, wasn't into it. Last year, I watched the entire first season. I wasn't into it. I'm not going to give you more than a season. If you're not like, yeah,
Hmm.
I understand the whole fourth quarter turnaround, but like, baby, TV is long. I'm gonna give you 8 to 10 to 12 hours of my life to not like it and keep babes. It ain't working for me.
Oh,
Yeah,
I think I have thoughts on this, but like that's a much larger conversation that we could get into another time.
okay. But that being said,
Yeah.
for me, I will say the drama series, I have not watched most of them. There are a couple ones that
Hmm.
I've been meaning to watch, like Better Call Saul, but I also then have to watch Breaking Bad, so that's a whole interconnected thing right there.
Well, Better Call Saul's the prequel, so
True.
you have the choice
That
here.
is true. I could almost watch that first and then watch Breaking Bad. We'll think about it. But for me, so I've seen Euphoria, I've seen Squid Game. You guys know I love Euphoria. I will say, my favorite is Euphoria. I would like to see Squid Game win, but I think it will be either Severance or Yellow Jackets. Having not seen them, but based on kind of like the chatter, I think it's going to be one of those two. But I
Mm.
would love to see Squid Game again. I love the idea that it's a non English show. It's an international show. It's a show that I think just is so different. It's a lot of these shows. I think a lot of shows right now are kind of meta, and that we're talking about capitalism and how it's impacting our lives and how we are as people are. What's the word I'm looking for? Crumbling is not the word I'm looking for, but crumbling, falling apart because of some of the capitalistic society.
Our souls are
Thank
breaking.
you. Yes, our Beyonce said you can't break my soul, and these shows are begging to disagree with her. But I think that being said, Squid Game is like the Hunger Games in a sense. Like it's like they do similar things in that dystopian kind of, not necessarily dystopian, but this like taking the conversations we're having and putting them in these extreme, almost fantasy like worlds. But I like that
Mhm.
Squid Game does that. I think in a time when a lot of television was escapist, even if it wasn't positive. Like you have Ted Lasso, which was very escapist and idealistic and a lot of those things. And while a lot of shows that were dramas still were heavy, I think that there was this I feel like during the pandemic years there was like a tiptoeing around certain things. And I feel like Squid Game did not set out to make you feel better at any point. There were moments that were nice. Like you could tell like it wasn't a show that at any point cared about making you feel better. I think a lot of other shows,
Right.
even in the dramas, they write these light comedic moments to make you feel better. And Squid Game was like, this is the world we're in. Shit sucks. You might laugh, you might not, but I really don't care. and I liked that it was this very strong one. I am in the team of people that does not understand why there is a season 2. I don't want a season 2. I think it was perfect the way it was, and I would love to have left it there. But I will say I would love to see it win for Outstanding Drama Series. I think that would make me very, very happy.
I will agree with you on that last note. There being a season 2 is
It's just weird. Like,
beyond mind-boggling. Like unless they actually go and like take down the Squid Game,
I think that's the point. Is like he's supposed to be going back
good
to
luck,
like fix
Charlie.
it. Like he's basically gonna be like the old man who like won the money and
Oh,
like
right.
goes back. Like I think he's gonna be trying to be like that, but still, I'm just like, I don't know. Like I wanted that man to go to America with his baby and just like be a dad. Like that's what I wanted, you know.
Right. Like choose peace, bro.
Like choose peace. Why are you choosing violence again? All right, Caleb. Shall we hit up these lead categories real quick?
I believe we shall. I believe we shall. Why don't you choose the first lead category,
Well, if it's up to me, we're always going to start with the women's. So let's do
as we should?
lead actress in a comedy series. Shall I read it again?
Whew. Yes.
All right. Ooh, I don't know how to say this baby name. Jesus.
Jodie Comer.
That's not who I'm thinking of.
Oh.
But I'm a lead actress in a comedy series. Whatever you just said wasn't even in.
Oh, yo, whoops.
Yeah. Listening, Caleb. No, I'm joking. All right. So I'm going to attempt this woman's name. So for lead actress in a comedy series, we have Rachel Brosnahan, The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel; Quinta Brunson, Abbott Elementary; Kaylee Cuoco, The Flight Attendant; Elle Fanning, The Great; Issa Rae, Insecure; and Jean Smart, Hacks. And I'm here to tell y'all, I'm rooting for everybody black. That being said, them putting two of my faves against each other is causing me stress. As much as I love Issa Rae, as much as I love Insecure, I think Insecure was woefully undernominated in the 5 seasons it was on television. It is shameful how often Insecure was snubbed for acting, for writing, for outstanding comedy series. Snub. That being said, I don't have any expectation that Issa Rae will win this year. And it makes me sad because it's the last time that, she can win for Insecure. But I don't see it for her. I think that Abbott Elementary is my favorite, and it is my prediction to win. I think Quinta Brunson was brilliant. I don't think that there has been a performance on TV that I have enjoyed as much as hers this year. And so I really I'm gunning for that. I did enjoy The Flight Attendant. I watched 4 episodes of it when I had COVID. And I enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't gone back. I'm not necessarily in a rush to finish it, but I enjoyed it. I think Kaylee Cuoco was fine.
And is that
it's Quinta. I think Quinta's kind of like, to me, the clear winner.
so? Wait, so officially, who do you think it's going
Just
to?
I say Quinta.
Okay. Just had to be sure. I absolutely love Quinta's performance in that show. Because while it was a comedy, we did get those for real serious moments of reflection. Because it's hard to be in a relationship and have to question it. Like
Woo!
that's a very dark moment, and we got that.
I thought
It
you were
was
about
through
to say
some comedic.
it was hard to be a teacher. Then I thought you were going to say it's hard to date a SoundCloud rapper, and you said neither of those things.
Oh, neither of those things. Nah, I'm talking about the very raw human experience of is he right for me, or she, or they? Are they right for me? And
Also
then
pay our teachers more. I feel like every time I
oh
talk
yeah,
about
no,
this person and I
absolutely.
talk about the show, like our teachers need to be paid better. The fact that we have a national teacher shortage, and there are conversations in school districts where we literally will not have teachers in classrooms because there's not enough teachers. We don't have bus drivers to drive the babies to school. People are out here and they're just gonna start letting front office receptionist and anybody teaching the babies because we ain't got enough teachers, because we just need to pay our teachers more. We need to support our teachers and give them the emotional and financial support to really just educate the next generation. But I think that is like that's my tangent. It just is something that is super important to me. My grandmother was an educator in the DC public schools for a very long time. So like when I see this show, as much as I love this show, as much as I love what it's doing, I think we also need to love our teachers as much as we love this show, and then support them in all of the ways that they need.
Agreed. I co-sign that statement, with the exception of my grandmother. She was no teacher. Definitely not in the DC district.
But she was your grandmama, and she mattered too.
I know that's right. And I do think if Quinta doesn't receive Best Lead Actress, then it should go to Rachel Brosnahan, because her performance this season, it's one of those shows where like the character has a flaw that gets like covered by a lot of circumstance, but this season there's that moment of self-reflection that makes somebody want to do the work to change. And she got told about herself by a couple of people this season, and you could see the pain in the character's face. So the actress did a really good job. But so Rachel's my favorite. Quinta's my girl. You better go get your Emmy. They called your name on stage.
Yeah.
I'm reading lead actor in comedy series.
Do that.
So we have Donald Glover, Atlanta. Bill Hader, Barry. Nicholas Hoult, The Great. Steve Martin, Only Murders in the Building. Martin Short, Only Murders in the Building. And Jason Sudeikis, Ted Lasso.
We love Jason.
Gaelyn, how are you feeling about this category?
Y'all know I don't like Mr. Atlanta. I don't like him. I find him problematic in several ways. I don't like that man. It's irritating because he's on my favorite song on Lotto's album, and he has a whole bar about his children being mulatto and that being why he's grateful to the Lord. And I just I don't like that man. I don't like him at all. I find him to be weird, and I think it's always interesting to me that he's always like blaming Black women for his troubles, and I don't like him. That being said, with his acting, I just also don't like the show, so I didn't continue the show. I heard some weird things about the season and him platforming Chet Hanks, and I have questions. I have questions, comments, concerns. Mr. Glover, have your people call my people. I'd love to have a chat. That being said, Steve Martin is one of my favorite actors of all time, so I just love everything about him. So I'm sure he's great in the show. But it's Jason Sudeikis for me. Y'all know I love Ted Lasso. And I think that season 2 is great. He continues to just be such a light. And I love those moments where we see Ted. Like, we always get at least one episode in each season where the happy Ted kind of like falls all the way away. And you see like this drunk and angry and sad man. And I think like he plays that dichotomy so well. And it's such a sad and scary opening and window. So I absolutely would love to see Jason Sudeikis take it. I think if it's not him, I do think that if it's not him, I could see it going to Steve Martin. But something about Donald Glover being nominated, especially in a year where people weren't really checking for Atlanta, Emmys wise, and also like the comments about Atlanta were so mixed, where I'm like, it's possible that they might pull a surprise and give it to that man. So,
right.
But I wanted to go to Jason Sudeikis. Jason Sudeikis is my fave and my pick.
Just real quick, I do want to say I do have a lot of respect for Donald Glover and the doors that he does open, and he doesn't like. He is one of those artists that aren't put in a box or doesn't allow himself to be put in a box. But the man is weird, I will say, and there are definitely a huge amount of things that I don't agree with. That being said, Donald Glover for lead actor is one of the things I don't agree with. There were a number of episodes this season, some of the strongest episodes, in my opinion, that he wasn't even in. And if he was in them, he wasn't even the lead character. So for him to be listed as lead actor in a series that,
like the show, he is
right,
the show, regardless.
But with the way that the show, because the show at this point, Actually, he did an interview where he talked about how with the show he treats every episode like a short film. Like it's just a
We
short
can
film
tell.
within the universe. Yeah. So that being said, like yes, on paper he's the lead actor, but it just almost never feels like
Yeah.
that, especially this season. Um, Bill Hader, I love and respect everything about that actor. Bill Hader is a very respectable person.
That being
Um,
said,
this, yeah, that being said, this season of Barry, for there to be a wait of 3 years, this season of Barry was very much
you're
uh,
ridiculous.
falling short. It fell short. Uh, but I think I would give Bill Hader um, my favorite as opposed to Steve Martin
Okay.
and Martin Short because in that show, like they were themselves. They were what you always see. Bill Hader and Barry, that was something new. That was something different, and he really did give a good look at like what PTSD can do to an individual, as happy-go-lucky as flowing as they may seem.
Interesting.
But my favorite, as we all know, has to go to Jason Sudeikis.
Yeah.
Because there is no show like Ted Lasso. There's no show like Ted Lasso. Ted Lasso does what I aim to do with almost every single piece of media that I put out. So
Yeah.
the fact that he's doing it and doing it so well, yeah. In another life, I'd be calling that character my TV father. In another life, in a life where I wasn't from a certain
I
continent.
was gonna say that's your TV daddy.
I said in another life, far from this one,
Got you.
but yeah.
Okay. So for lead actress in a drama series, we have Jodie Comer, Killing Eve, Laura Linney, Ozark, Melanie Linsky, Yellow Jackets, Sandra Oh, Killing Eve, Reese Witherspoon, The Morning Show, and Zendaya, Euphoria. For me, I feel like a lot of these nominees to me just feel like duh nominees. Like, of course we're going to nominate them. I think for
Right.
me, I love The Morning Show. We have not talked about my love for The Morning Show, but it's one of my favorite shows currently out. I really enjoy it each time. I think that it's going to be a Zendaya. I think it's going to be a Zendaya 2 for 2. I just think that she's going to get it again. I don't. I have not seen some of the other shows, so I cannot speak to the work of the other actresses, but I just think that Zendaya's work in Euphoria, particularly this season, was so transformative, was so vulnerable in ways that I don't think a lot of the other characters have to be, and I don't think a lot of characters in television are as vulnerable as Rue got to be this season. And from a personal standpoint of just wanting to really end the trope of Black women having to have it all together, I love that Zendaya plays a character who does not have it all together, and we still love her, and we still see the value in her life, and so that's my favorite. That is, I'm going to stand behind that as my favorite and my prediction. Caleb, what about you?
We love
Yes.
synchronicity. My favorite will be going to Jodie Comer for Killing Eve. For those who watch the show, they know that she is a psychopath assassin who loves what, well, she doesn't love what she does, but she has fun doing what she does. And so it just creates for this very much, she steals every scene that she's in. Um, she's lovable, even though she is quite literally one of the worst people in life. She will kill you if you burp the wrong day. Like she's a mess, that character, but like that actress really puts heart into that heartless psychopath. So Jodie Comer is definitely my favorite, but I do have to give it to Zendaya. Again, with the versatility in their role and the fact that um, the cause behind that show is talking about something that people either know nothing about or see in such a binary way that they don't give people with addiction or people with substance abuse the time of day or any other second thoughts. Like I think Zendaya should be taking that
I
home.
love it.
Having seen all the shows,
Got
yeah.
you. And then for lead actor in a drama series, we have Jason Bateman, Ozark, Brian Cox, Succession, Lee Jung Jae, Squid Game, Bob Odenkirk, Better Call Saul, Adam Scott, Severance, and Jeremy Strong, Succession. Like I said, y'all know the only show that I've seen on this is Squid Game. And I'm telling you now, I do not know enough to make a prediction for this category. I don't really know enough to have a favorite other than the one show I saw is the one show that I will say is my favorite. I, again, would love to see it go to Lee Jung Jae. That show is so different. It is so, I think it's so difficult. I think the other actors, in a sense, have it easier in that when you are doing a show that is written in English, you know it's going to a larger audience and there's not as much work. I think it's a different level of challenge to do a show that you know is set in your language. I believe that the show's set in Korea. Where's the show set again? Korea? Japan?
I do have to look that up.
But either way, to do the show in a language that you know a majority of the people who are going to watch this show don't even speak, and to be able to connect and really just convey, to really build this emotional impact on people where people are rooting for you, even though they have to read these subtitles or listen to a voice that's not your voice, but you're still able to grab people. That to me is a different level of acting. So the show is set in South Korea, so they speak Korean. I think that is a different challenge than anybody else has had. And I think that to do it so well, to do it in a show that is as difficult as that show is, I think is very commendable.
Mhm.
And I would love, again, I don't have enough space to make a prediction in this category, but I would very much love to see it. And I would love to see that win, because I think it would shatter so much of the facade of what we think an Emmy television show is. And I think it would really open up the categories for English and non-English shows, but just really open up and kind of bust down the Academy in a way that I think needs to be done. So I'm a rebel. I want that. But Caleb, go ahead. Your thoughts.
So yeah, no, again, I've seen all of these shows. Um, and my favorite is Brian Cox, Succession. He is an old man who runs his family and will not take anything into consideration if it's not with his winnings as priority. That man has, the character has cut off his sons, has restructured the whole um, lining of his company. Like, if you were to tell him that you wanted to take a break Monday, you are filling your boxes with your stuff from your desk on Friday because you will not be here Monday since you want to take a break. And it's the fact that Brian Cox is able to do that in such a distasteful way, but still like you can respect it. And he's still able to put a smile on his face when he's doing you wrong. Like Brian Cox in that role is absolutely amazing. In terms of who I think is getting the Emmy, I do think Lee Jung Jae would be the recipient of this Emmy because the other actors, like, they did well, but nobody else was telling such a story from an integrity standpoint in such extreme circumstances. So I would be really happy to see Lee receive that Emmy.
Now, Caleb, we've talked about, these are the nominees. This is what the list was. But I think that there were some notable snubs this year. I just feel like there are some strong snubs. I think most notably to me, and I think a lot of folks, This Is Us. Nothing for Mandy Moore. Nothing. Like, Mandy Moore should have won Emmys for this show. I think in multiple seasons, but I have not watched the last 3 episodes of this season, of the very last season. But Mandy Moore not having nominations to me is insane. Sterling K. Brown continued and just did amazing work always. I just don't see I think the young lady who played Deja, his daughter or the adopted daughter, I think she should have had a
Hmm.
nomination. I think overall, This Is Us did. I think to me, other than Squid Game, This Is Us to me did some of the most complicated storytelling of the past 8 years, 9 years it was on TV, in terms of you're telling narrative stories across at different points 3 and 4 different timelines that all had their own chronology, and telling them in a way that interweaves between everything. Like, there were very few episodes where we sat only in the past or only in the present or only in the future.
Right.
But to tell stories in a way that you were not um divulging information for another timeline, but still able to, I think it's just like that is complicated storytelling. I do not think that we have had a show that it was as complicated to tell as This Is Us, and I just don't understand. I think that was just like a criminal snub. Criminal.
Because yeah, no, I said it before and I'll say it again. That first episode perfectly encapsulated like what the whole show is, and that was quite the eye opener when you realize that one of the couples that we're watching is actually the parents of
Yeah.
the family, and it destroyed that whole idea of, oh, parents are like this, they're going to be kept in this one eye, and then maybe we'll explore their flaws. Like, no, we're seeing all of it up front and center with no judgment beforehand. And so like the fact that the show is able to seamlessly weave those stories, um, yeah, if nothing else for the
Yeah.
writing, if nothing else.
I think another snub for me, I think in terms of hosting, because there's a couple, the competition hosting category. I have to shout out
Hmm.
Syracuse alumnus, one of the goats, I think, of Black Syracuse, but like them not nominating Speedy Mormon for hosting for the hype, disrespectful. It's rude. Academy,
Mm.
you will be dealt with. I really love the hype. It was just a fun show. I was watching it during the pandemic. It was fun. I think that Speedy Mormon, obviously, in terms of like Black Syracuse alum, like that's a goat. Like when you build your Mount Rushmore of Black Newhouse alumni, you put Speedy Mormon
Mm.
on the Mount Rushmore. So I would have loved to have seen that clearly. But I really thought he did some really great work.
Right.
Another one for me that I think people forgot about, Regina Hall, 9 Perfect Strangers. I could have left everything else for 9 Perfect Strangers alone. But Regina,
Mm.
that DC Girl Hall, I just don't understand how we didn't give my good sis her things. I'm angry about it still.
I think you saw my face when you said it. I definitely was part of the population that did
People
forget.
forgot she was doing really strong, crazy, in-depth.
Right.
She did a lot with that script. Like I said, I could have left all of the rest of that show alone. But Regina, come on.
I think another snub for me was Insecure. Yes, we did get that lead actress nomination for Issa Rae, but like Yvonne Orji that last season.
Okay, but here's the thing for me with like Insecure, because y'all know I love Insecure.
Mm-hmm.
Now that I've taken space from it and I can like not cry about it, I think that the best opportunity for everybody to get their things was season 4. I think season 4 was written so well and it was acted so well that season 5,
Mm-hmm.
though good, if I'm talking about my favorite season and the best season, I think the best season was 4. My favorite season, it might have been 4, it might have been 3, it might have been 1. I don't really know because I just love the show in general. But
Right.
I just don't think that I think Issa, I could see it. I think Yvonne, I could make the argument for, and I just think that Yvonne deserves things and people don't see her that way. But I don't necessarily think that it was snubbed per se. I think Yvonne was snubbed, but I can't think of an episode that I would have nominated for writing this year. Maybe no, episode 9 with the one that Prentice Penny, I think he directed it and he wrote it. But that one was episode 9 when Nathan and Lawrence fight, or is that 8? Whatever episode that was.
That might have been. That
I
might have
think it
been
might have
8.
been 8. The
No, that
actual
was
fight.
9. That was
Okay.
9. That was 9.
So yeah, I think that to me is the episode that I would have like gone up for in terms of writing, but I don't know.
Right.
I think this year it was a fine show, but in the landscape of everything that's out, maybe I mean like what you were saying, like in terms of like you don't think White Lotus should have been nominated, so maybe I could like bump my Insecure for that, but I don't know. It was a weird season for
hmm
Insecure. I think like watching it nostalgically, I have feelings about it, and then watching it in terms of like what it was doing, I have feelings about it.
Right. No, episode 9 was a strong episode, and I just think that with Yvonne Orji's character throughout the years, like the progress that was made, I think this season, while I'm not saying by any means that the 5th season was the strongest season, I just do think that Yvonne could have received an award for this season. Another snub for me, huh, huh, True Story with Kevin Hart and Wesley
Snub.
Snipes.
Snub. That was the
That
best
show was
limited
incredible,
series. Period.
hands down. And the fact that that White Lotus show got what it did, and True Story got
We should do
nothing.
an episode about True Story.
True
That was such a
Story
great show.
had
That
you
was so much fun. It was so much fun to watch.
from the start, and that personally relivened my
Rejuvenated.
love for limited series. Rejuvenated, yes, thank you. I don't word so much. I'm a writer, not a speaker.
I
I
was
am
gonna
a
say,
speaker,
are you
actually.
not
I'm gonna
both?
stop talking now. Anywho,
Mhm.
True Story was perfect limited series content. If you haven't watched it, please go
Yeah,
check it
ASAP.
out.
ASAP.
Yeah, that was amazing, and that
I
was
will
snubbed.
say I don't think everybody watched this show, but Central Park for me, I think was such a great comedy. I
hmm
mean, I guess technically it gets stuck in the animated in that side of it, but not seeing that is kind of crazy to me. I think it was definitely should have been an outstanding show. So much fun. And I think that's another show that's very difficult to tell. It's a adult, well, not adult because I think it's rated TV PG actually, but it's like a cartoon that's a musical that also has to tell a narrative non-musical story. I think it's very difficult storytelling. I think it's a lot of fun, and I love Leslie Odom Jr. I love Daveed Diggs. So you get that nice Hamilton reunion. But I think it was so much fun, and I really just I would have liked to have seen something for that show. But I really enjoyed it.
Right.
And then Caleb, you wrote Blackish on
Um,
here. That's controversial. You know, Blackish is
it is controversial. Um, I say that being honest, not watching. I wrote it there, yes. Did I want to argue for it? I needed more time to argue for it because um like I said, I hadn't watched it, so that's already like I'm arguing in the dark here.
I've seen every
But
episode of Blackish that ever
for
existed. So
gotcha. So you're
I think
saying
season 8 was I think because there's been so much conversation about how it ended. Obviously, they wanted to do the cast and the creative team wanted to do at least 10 seasons. They got cut season 8.
hmm
So I think season 8 to me kind of just felt like a throwaway of like it felt like a fuck it, like a cool. We're just
Gotcha.
gonna do the show. We got to do one more season. We'll do it. And I think there were a lot of beautiful moments. I think there was the episode with where they talk about menopause was a beautiful episode, and it gave some it was a beautiful character development and growth moment for the two women in Dre's life who don't ever get along. But I think it was a beautiful episode. I think there were nice moments. What I am very excited, I think what I wish that they had
hmm
done better was that Grownish this season is about Junior and Junior going to college. And I think they did a very bad job of setting that up. Because all of a sudden Junior just went to college. But they don't address it in Blackish, and then he just pops up in Grownish. And Grownish didn't set it up well, and Blackish didn't set it up well. And I wish that they had done a better job of creating that storyline. But I think Blackish was fine. Again, I think there were other seasons where I would have probably argued harder that they were snubbed, but It is what it is. I think Tracy Ellis Ross was snubbed and robbed every year for her nominations. I think she deserved, but
every year.
it was a fine. Like I think season 8 of Blackish and season 5 of Insecure were fine shows, were fine seasons, and they said goodbye in ways that I think were fine. But I think there are other seasons that I have arguments for in terms of being snubbed for both of those shows.
I do believe that is our Emmys episode. While we are on the topic of talking about TV, are there any shows that you are watching at this current moment?
So I'm watching a lot of things. I am rewatching Empire, and by rewatching, I mean I stopped watching like everybody did sometime in like season 3. So I'm rewatching it so I can like watch the parts that I didn't see, but I'm really enjoying it. Something about watching it older. I'm watching it with my dad now, so it's like fun to like because he's just like these people are ridiculous, and I'm like this is some foolishness. But I'm really enjoying Empire right now. Love that a lot. I am currently watching Sweet Life, in Issa Rae's HBO reality show. I love Sweet Life. It is messy. It is dramatic. If you were a Baldwin Hills fan from BET back in the day, like you'll love this show. Very much enjoy that. I am watching Rap Shit. I cannot give an opinion on that show yet. I'm not sure how I feel. Like catch me at the end of season 1 and we'll see how I feel. And then I love Grownish. I wish that we had started Grownish with Junior from the jump. Junior is the character we should have been following. I love season 5 of Grownish. I think the pilot, I'm calling it the pilot because it was like Junior's pilot, but it's like the opening episode of season 5. I think that was one of the best episodes of the show, period. And I'm really enjoying it. I am enjoying Grownish in a way that I never thought that I would. But I would say like those are like the shows that right now that I'm watching that stick out to me that I'm really like going up for. So Caleb, what are you watching?
I am watching, I will say right now I'm on an exclusive HBO Max watch right now. For no other reason than HBO Max just has my attention.
HBO Max don't even exist no more.
Oh, right. Yo,
that's a whole other episode right there.
Whole other episode. They done gone through 4 whole transformations in the past year. But so the shows that I'm watching for, you know, like writerly inspiration for like my research shows are a Black Lady sketch show. Gotta get my sketch comedy up. Cough cough, listeners, tune in soon. Then there's High Maintenance. That is a very smart web series that got bought as a TV show. It's just about a weed dealer and like his customer base. Like that's literally all the show's about. And there's no like through line, but like it's very interesting seeing all these different people, and like it's just such a smart way to like get a web series off the ground. I'm trying to take notes again. Cough cough. Then one of my favorite shows, Harley Quinn, is back. So you know I had to tune in for that show live. And aside from Harley Quinn, the narrative show, the one that like the world I'm invested in or have been invested for the past couple weeks, it's about to come to a close, is 6 Feet Under, which is about this family that runs a funeral home, and all the things that come with that.
Interesting.
And death and whatnot. Yeah. But those are what I'm watching at the moment.
Gotcha. Well, I guess, guys, that is the end of our 2022 Emmys nominations, predictions, snubs episode. As always, you can follow the podcast and our production company at No Sleep X Prod. It's your girl Gaelyn Smith. You can follow me at GSmitty with 2 T's and 4 Y's on anything with an @ symbol.
And it's your writer, Caleb McDonald. You can follow me at Caleb Subtitles on anything with an @ symbol. If you find me on any other accounts, stop looking.
That sounds so ominous and so spicy. And I just...
Perfect.
And on that note, on that note, it's been another episode of the No Sleep Till Hollywood podcast. And we'll see you guys soon. As always, thank you for listening. Good night. Good morning.
Good evening.
Good afternoon. Bonsoir. Bonne nuit. Bye.
Adios.